Hey everybody, I'm Scott Weichel. You're listening to My Kind of Country on MKOCRadio.com. My guest tonight is a Grammy and CMA nominee, BMI Songwriting Award winner. She has been a member of the Grand Ole Opry for 47 years. 2002, inducted into the North American Country Music Association's Hall of Fame International, and you've seen her on Country's Family Reunion. She's toured every state in the country and 21 countries abroad, recorded with some of the best in the business, wrote great songs. I could just go on, but I'm going to get a chance to talk to her today. Jan Howard. Jan, how are you tonight?
I'm doing fine, Scott. Thank you for having the patience. I know I missed your call yesterday, and it was my fault.
Well, that's all right. You're a busy lady, and it's getting to be that busy time of the year, so I'm real honored that you took time to talk to me today.
Oh, well, I do think it's an honor to be on there. and I don't do internet too well half the time because my computer goes down, and I don't know how to fix it.
I tell you, they are great when they work, but when they don't, it's a nightmare.
So I just figure, okay, everybody's got to have patience.
That's right. We need a lot more of that in this world nowadays. A lot of
Who's made?
all these young kids don't have patience anymore, you know.
Yeah, I don't think so, but I do, but it's, it's just what's important and what isn't, and thank you for putting me on that important list.
Well,
Call back.
you are truly important to country music, and I'll tell you what, you've had a stellar career and some wonderful songs and experiences. And I'd like to ask some things about your career and just talk to you a little bit and visit today, if that's okay.
Okay, sure, whatever.
All right. Well, I want to go back to 1955, and you recorded some songs with Mr. Wynn Stewart.
Yeah, Wynn was my friend, and we were all friends out there in California. And Harlan and I used to go. I was married to Harlan Howard at the time. You notice I said at the time, but we were married for about 10 years, and we had some good times and some other times, but whatever. But Wynn was our buddy, and he's more like family than he was anything else. But I loved Wynn as my friend and buddy, and we used to go down to George's Roundup where Wynn was performing down there, and to see Wynn and hear him sing. And I told him one night. One woman kept hollering at him to sing a certain song, and so anyway, he did, but it wasn't what the audience wanted to hear, and so they wanted to hear an Elvis song at that time. Well, Wynn could do an Elvis song, and it's as good as Elvis, just about. And Wynn said, "It doesn't matter what I sing." He said that just as long as it has the beat, so they can dance to it. I said, "Oh, that isn't true, Wynn." And he said, "Yes, it is." He said, "I'll show you." He said, "You just pay attention to the people." And he said, "And I'll try to sing what they want." And he said, and he got up and he did. The woman wanted to hear a certain song. Anyway, so when he was going to prove that it wasn't what the audience what the audience requested. So as long as it had a certain dance beat, they could dance to. And Wynn got up there and started singing just jabberish, or gibberish, or whatever you want to call it. And it didn't matter. He was singing like Mary Had a Little Lamb or something to somebody else's tune. And sure enough, he was right. They didn't pay a bit of attention to Win Stewart. All they wanted was that certain songs they could dance to.
Oh my gosh.
So that was Win. But he went right ahead and did what he was going to do, but he sang just gibberish.
That's funny. Oh my gosh.
People, all they cared about was gotta have that beat.
Gotta have that dance beat. Yep, that's funny. Well,
Yeah.
your first couple of recordings, so you did a demo tape of a song called "Mommy for a Day," and then I believe.
Oh my gosh, yes, I remember that. That's Mommy for a Day. Yeah, I sang it. I did the demo. Let's see. Harlan was standing in the bathroom with his foot up on the commode in the bathroom, and I was standing in the shower, only the water wasn't on, because he said it made a better echo. So that was my first demo.
Wow. How far we've come, huh?
Yeah, and then Kitty did record it, and I guess it was one of Harlan's first
First big songs, huh? Yeah.
yeah, BMI songs, yeah.
Yep. And you recorded, I think one of your first releases was "Pick Me Up on Your Way Down."
Yes, it was, yeah.
Love that song.
And anyway, they kept, and I did the demo on Pick Me Up also.
That was a big hit for Charlie Walker.
Yes, it absolutely was. That was one of Harlan's first recordings.
Wow.
First records.
Well, Harlan certainly,
Charlie.
he had a wealth of material, that's for sure. And you did too. You wrote a lot of great songs too. And we were talking about Win Stewart. You guys had some beautiful duets. "Wrong Company," which I absolutely love, and "Yankee Go Home." And
Yeah.
You guys.
I didn't really care for Yankee Go Home, but I like Wrong Company.
"Wrong Company" is a good song. Yep, I actually have
With the wrong company, they'll drag you down. Yeah.
That's it. That's a great song. We're going to play that a little later too. And then in
Okay.
1960 was a big year. You had your first top 10, "The One You Slip Around With."
Yes, I'm so thankful for that song. And I still did a lot of requests for that song.
Well, I'm sure you do. And you know what? We get a lot of requests on my radio station for that song too.
That's great. I'm very honored.
And we certainly do play it. And now you moved to Nashville around 1960. Is that right?
June the 6th of 1960.
Wow. And when was your first appearance on the Grand Ole Opry?
Right after that, I think it was 1960. Whenever it was right away, and I was introduced by Ray Price.
Oh wow!
Yeah, you tell me about it, because I was almost so awestruck and starstruck by Ray Price that I couldn't even think straight. But he was my idol as far as music goes, and still is. If nobody can touch Ray Price, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree with you. I was very privileged to see and meet Ray several times, and I saw him just a few years before he passed away. And I'll tell you what, he was just class. You know, he was dressed in a suit. His band was dressed up.
He was class. There's no other word fits Ray Price more than that. Well, I can't tell you how honored I was every time I was just to be on stage with him, or to be around him. Just
he was fabulous, no doubt about it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to talk really a lot about your personal life. You've got a wonderful book that's available, and folks, you can go to janhoward.com, or the Ernest Tubb Record Shop has the book in stock, and you can get that. And this is a book that pretty much covers all of your life, your marriage to Harlan, and everything, all in between, good, bad, and indifferent, right?
Well, it's uh, not just about my career or anything like that. It's it's my life really. It is 490 pages of life, and it's ups and downs and it's honesty, and that's what another artist here said, how can you open your soul for people to read? And I said, because I said it was honest. And if I lied about some of the things, then the whole book would have been a lie.
That's
But,
right.
Life has its ups and downs. Nothing is perfect all the time.
Amen to
And
that. Amen to that. Well, that book, folks, is called Sunshine and Shadow, and I encourage you to pick that up. It's a fantastic read, and a lot of wonderful information in there. And of course, we're talking to Jan Howard about her fabulous career in music, and such a great output of music on Decca Records. You're sitting right here in front of me, I've got one of your albums. It's probably my favorite one of yours. It's called This Is Jan Howard Country. You remember that one?
that's one of mine, too. I like that one. And there's a lot of songs in there that I like very much. But I like most of my songs. Uh, I don't like something. I can't sing something I don't like. So you can blame me. Blame me if I didn't. But yeah, I just couldn't. I can't sing it just because it's supposed to be a hit song or something. I have to like it.
There's a version of Glenn Campbell's big hit on this album called "Gentle on My Mind," and you did just an
Oh, yeah.
absolutely beautiful job on that song.
Thank you very much. And that was written, of course, by the guy that, shoot, I have lapses in my memory.
That's okay. John Hartford wrote that song.
John Hartford, yeah, of course. He lived right across the street from us at that time.
Is that right?
And, yeah, in Madison. And I came home one day. I'd been downtown for something. And anyway, I came home and I pitched the song to Owen Bradley for me to record. And I was thinking for an album. And he said, no, he said, it's a man's song. I said, no. So I saw John Hartford, and I told him, I said, Owen won't let me record the song because he said, it's a man's song. And John said, well, I'll change that. So he went and got his guitar and came over to our house, and which was across the street. He came and changed the lyrics just enough to where I could put it from a female's version.
Wow. Well, it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. It's another one I want to play here later for the folks. Great song. There's also a song on this album that Dolly Parton wrote called "Your Old Candyman." Do you remember? Your Old Handyman. Excuse me. Do you remember that one?
Handyman, yeah. I was at the Studio B one day downtown, and which was one of our RCA. They had two studios, Studio A and B. B is a small studio where most of the hit recordings, most of Elvis's recordings, everything were from Studio B. And so I was going to be down there, and Dolly called me. At that time, she she was writing songs for her uncle's publishing company, and she just, had only been in Nashville for a short time, and I said I'd love to hear some of your songs, and she said, well, okay, I'll just come down there, and so Studio B is right down the street from her uncle's publishing company. So I went out to, there's kind of a veranda thing out there at the front. There was, not anymore. But I went out there and I waited for Dolly. And here she came, just carrying her little guitar. And she was down the street about a block away. And she was carrying a guitar. And she came, we sat down out front, and she plunked on that, and she sang me that song. You don't find a good man every day, and I let a good man get away. And anyway, yeah, I recorded the song, and I liked it, and sounded like Dolly.
It's a great song, and of course, right at that same time, you had what's kind of become your signature hit, "Evil on Your Mind."
Yes, I did. That was the #1 song.
Yeah, tell me about that song.
"Evil on Your Mind." Well, I don't know what I can say about it, except it never went to #1 in the Billboard charts, but it did in the people's charts. I guess.
I've heard from a lot of artists that songs that they had that didn't go #1 that became their signature songs. Gene Watson's "Farewell Party" and John Conley's "Rose-Colored Glasses." And those were not #1 songs, but they become signature songs.
Absolutely. And I was trying to think, but anyway, Harlan wrote the song. And I said, well, I wrote it for Harlan, because "Evil on Your Mind." I said, I don't think all songs, all great songs, were written from actual experiences.
Mm-hmm. Did you? I know you were label mates with Patsy Cline. Did you spend some time with her and do some touring with her?
Oh, yes, she was my good friend. And she was married to Charlie Dick. And they were friends. And in fact, I felt sorry for Charlie, really, because when the song was released, the movie was released, they made Charlie look like not very complimentary. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't like that, I felt sorry for him. He said, Jan, that if I hadn't taken up for myself, she'd have killed me with a baseball bat. Because Patsy had a temper. But it was a love relationship, really. But yeah, she had a temper. But I felt sorry for Charlie. And he was right. So if he hadn't taken up for himself, she'd killed him with a baseball bat.
Oh my
I don't know. But they truly did love each other. And they lived not very far from us, right there in Madison. Mm-hmm. But I was at Patsy's last session.
Were you?
And I was in when she was going to record that night, and she called me and she said, "Are you coming down to the studio tonight?" And I said, No. She said, "Why not?" And I said, "Well, because it's business, Patsy." I said, "You're recording, and I don't want to get in the way." She said, "No, I want you there." And I said, "Okay, I'll be there." All right. so I went there, and I'm so thankful that I did. I was there when she recorded "Faded Love" and the "Sweet Dreams," all those wonderful recordings of hers.
Wow.
But thanks to Owen Bradley. Now Patsy would do everything Western swing, because she loved Western swing. She liked Leon McAuliffe, and I did too, friends. But you can't do every song like that. So Owen had the knowledge and everything to record the songs the way she recorded them. And thanks to Owen and his guidance and everything, that made her last recordings to be life experiences.
Wow.
And made it where they would live forever.
Absolutely. That's wonderful.
Uh,
Well, so many great songs you've had over the years. I Wish I Was a Single Girl Again. And what Makes a Man Wander. Roll Over and Play Dead. That's on the This Is Jan Howard Country album that we were talking about. Love that song. And
Thank you.
Count Your Blessings, Woman. And Livin' and Lovin' Hondo. That was always I always thought that was a neat song.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was Johnny Cash liked that song. He was the one that picked that one out.
Did he?
Yeah, he just chose it for me to record.
Wow. That's really
Living on Hondo. Yeah. I like it better now than I did then. I can see more of the funny part now. At that time, I wasn't too open to it.
Well, you also wrote some great songs for other artists. You wrote It's All Over But the Cryin' for Kitty Wells, and Love Is a Sometimes Thing for Bill Anderson. And
Yeah.
couple that you wrote that you recorded, Marriage Has Ruined More Good Love Affairs. I love that title.
Oh, yeah. I thought, put a little humor into this.
And Life of a Country Singer. That's another great song.
Well, I lived those experiences.
I imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. I wrote that in England.
Did you?
In England. I wrote it in about 10 minutes. In
Wow.
England, yeah.
Wow.
And,
You know, I'm always curious to talk to songwriters and ask them. I've talked to a lot of different ones, and a lot of them tell me that the really, really good songs come really fast. Was that true for you, and was that true for Harlan as well?
I think so. Although Roger Miller would say no, because sometimes it would take him 3 years to write one verse or something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he doesn't write. Although a lot of those, like Dang Me, he couldn't have spent much time on that.
You would hope not.
Yeah, hope not. He wrote one of the greatest ballads. I'm trying to think of it now. Believe me.
There's one. Don't we all have the right to be wrong now and then? That's one he wrote that I think is one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's great. I haven't heard that one.
Beautiful song.
Ah.
Hey, I want to ask you about Bill Anderson. You had a very successful some recordings with him, a #1 song for "Loving You" in 1967. Spent 4 weeks at the #1. And tell me a little bit about working with Bill Anderson.
Well, the good times and bad times. No, no, we had fun. We had fun, but we were business too, and we worked together for, I think it was about 6 years, 6 or 7 years, and we had some good ones, and it was fun recording, but. I think, well, Bill and I both are when it comes to business, it's business. And we enjoyed working together, or at least I did. I hope he did. And I see him every now and then now. And but I think we had some great recordings.
You sure did. You sure did.
And some that I'm very proud of, and I hope Bill is.
Absolutely.
And
I wanted to ask you about a song that I know became a very, very personal song for you that you wrote. It's called My Son.
it is very personal. But I wrote that when I had two sons in the military, but one was in Vietnam at the time. And I wrote it as a letter to him. And my middle son was also going to Vietnam, but he was home for 21 days before he was shipped out to Vietnam. Because their name, Jimmy was the oldest boy, and he was drafted. And Corky, his name's Carter, but we all called him Corky. And he said, if Jimmy's going, I'm going. So that's when he volunteered. And that was always their saying, you know, whatever one does, I'm going to do that. So Jimmy came home for 21 days before he was shipped to Vietnam. And he was stationed at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. So Jimmy and I and my youngest son, David, we flew to Fort Sill, spent 4 days with all of us together. And that was the last time we were all together, ever. And then when we were coming back home, Jimmy, I went ahead and, we went ahead and got on the plane, David and I did, and Jimmy. I watched as he hugged Corky, shook hands first, and then they hugged each other. And Jimmy got on the plane, and he said, "That's the last time I'll ever see Corky."
Mm.
And we went home, and David was going to school out in Nashville, and I was going to take him back to school. And Jimmy went out and hugged David, came back in, and he said, "That's the last time I'll ever see David." And I said, "Jimmy, don't say that." He said, "It's true, Mom." And it was.
Mm.
But I wrote it strictly as a letter to Jimmy because I tried to write every day or so.
Mm-hmm.
And Corky was there in Vietnam to escort Jimmy's body home.
Oh.
So that's very personal.
Yeah.
And I don't do it. I don't sing it anymore.
I can
Because I
understand.
can't.
Yeah, I can understand that. You know, that's one thing about country music is Freddie Hart told me country music is people put to music, and it's a kind of a musical therapy, don't you think?
Yeah. Probably is.
Yeah. Well, this might be a hard question to answer, but my gosh, you've done so many things, been so many places. What are some things that really stand out in your mind that was kind of like an aha moment for you that just really stand out for your career that were some of the greatest things that happened for you?
Oh God. The greatest thing I just uh I find that very hard to define because I'm so thankful for every day. um, and I have known some of the greatest people, uh, friends, not stardom. It's you know it's fine, but after a while, it's unimportant.
Hmm.
Just I have a lot of friends that are in the military, and they're some of the greatest people I've ever known.
Well, I think that's a good answer. That it is. I too have met some of the most wonderful people in the music business, and you get to know them and call them friends, and a lot of your fans too. Country music fans are very loyal, and you get to know them through the years, and I think there's no better thing than those wonderful people that you get to know and spend time with. You know.
Yeah,
Excuse me. And I noticed there's such a great camaraderie between all the what I call the grand ladies of the Grand Ole Opry. You and Jeannie Seeley and Jean Shepard when she was still with us, Connie Smith. You all seem to have just this wonderful bond together.
it is. I said when I first started, I wanted to be Gene Shepard, and and Ken Nelson, who was her producer, he reminded me that I couldn't because there already was one. I said, what? So I had to really try not. I did. I love Gene, but I had to try to sound. I didn't intentionally try to be Gene Shepard.
Well,
She was my dear, dear friend.
well, I'm certainly glad that you sound like Jan Howard because we love Jan Howard. So.
Well, thank you. But I tell you, if I could be compared to anybody, I would love for it to be Gene Shepard.
Well,
And
that's a
I
good
hope
one.
you'll forgive my throat right now because I've got something going on in my throat. I'm not talking too well.
Well,
I don't usually talk this grumbly.
that's quite all right. Well, I want to thank you. I've enjoyed this conversation immensely, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking time to be on my show, and thank you for all the wonderful music and memories that you've given me and all of my listeners. And I hope that my listeners will go to janhoward.com and the Ernest Tubb Record Shop and get Jan's book. It's a wonderful read. It's called Sunshine and Shadow, and of course her music is available there too. And
Thank you. I've heard, excuse me for interrupting, but the Ernest Tubb Record Shop, uh, they said that my book has been the longest selling and the best selling book they've ever had.
wow.
And I said, that's quite a compliment.
Absolutely. Well, after reading it, I can understand why. It's a very entertaining book, and it's very hard to put down. There's so many great stories in there, and
Thank you.
I really loved reading about your time out in L.A. and reading stuff about Harlan Howard, Buck Owens too. We didn't really talk about Buck, but boy, I'll tell you, you and Harlan fed him an awful lot of good songs.
Oh, well. We were a good team for a long years.
Absolutely, great body of music, no doubt about it. Well, Jan, thank you so much for taking time to be on my show. I really can't thank you enough. This is an honor to me to have you on the show, and I really appreciate it. And we're going to play a bunch of your music for our listeners now. And God bless you, and Merry Christmas
Thank you.
to you.
Thank you. I hope you won't let this be the last of our friendship.
Absolutely not. And the next time I come down, I want to come and see you. And I want to thank Margie Singleton. She was nice enough to get us in touch, and she is such a dear, sweet lady. I think the world of her. And I just wanted to thank her for getting us in touch today. And I hope we can talk again sometime. I'd love to have you back on any time.
Well, I'm available usually most of the time, and I'm so sorry for the mix-up yesterday. But
well, if we'd have done it yesterday, it might not came out as good as it did today. So I guess it was meant to be.
Well, I appreciate you having patience and calling back, because I would have hated to have missed it.
Well, me too. It meant the world to me, Jan. Thank you so very much, and God bless you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Scott.
All right. That is
Have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you and your family, too. That is the legendary Jan Howard. We're going to play a whole bunch of Jan's great music for you, including some of her duets with Wynn Stewart and Bill Anderson as we continue with My Kind of Country.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Jan.
My heart can still be found say you're with the wrong company, they'll drag you down. You're spending too much time on the wrong side of town. Now it's your life to live, but it's my heart to give. And if you still want me, give up that wrong company. Well, you don't mess around with the boys in the band. You do nothing more than to hold their hand. The best thing to be is to be their buddy. Anything more and the water gets muddy. And you never give your heart to the leader of the band, even if you know he's the only man who can turn you overnight from a lady to a swinger. That is the life of a country girl singer. Well, you learn to play poker and a little bit of gin. You get proposition, but you never give in. You might tell jokes just a little off color, but never get close to their wives and mothers. And you tote your own luggage, you buy a round of drinks, and never complain if the motel stinks. You go to a party, but you're not allowed to linger. And that is the life of a country girl singer. People ask you how you get a foot in the door. Tell them all you know and they want to know more. You never had a life completely your own. You might own a mansion but you're never at home. Well, you try to dress so your fans will approve, but deep inside you know it's not really you. It's hard to start a decent family life, 'cause every man you meet already has a wife. But I wouldn't trade it for Rockefeller's name, unless, of course, he offered the same. Maybe someday there'll be a ring on my finger, but till then it's the life of a country girl singer. People ask you how you get a foot in the door. Tell them all you know and they want to know more. You never have a life completely your own. You might own a mansion but you're never at home. Well, but I wouldn't trade it for Rockefeller's name, unless, of course, he offered the same. Maybe someday there'll be a ring on my finger, but till then it's the life of a country girl singer. Well, you've asked me all these years for all this advice I can give you. Well, one thing I can tell you, honey, forget about a love life, 'cause you're not in one place long enough to get acquainted. And I'll tell you, those 1,000-mile jumps between dates with a midnight show and a matinee the next day, I'll tell you, it's a lot easier on these big buses. They're crowded, but they're comfortable, a lot better than those cars and U-Haul trailers. Of course, if you can go to work with a guy that has a Learjet, it's a lot easier, a lot better. Don't ever live upstairs either, man. That luggage gets heavy. And I can't think of a whole lot more to tell you at this point. You'll learn it if you get in the business. Just practice a lot. Whatever. You can take that any way you want to. It's knowing you don't try to buy my freedom with some promise made of gold. That for you my door stays open and our love becomes a simple two-way street. And it's knowing we're not shackled by forgotten words and bonds and the ink stains that have dried upon some line. That keeps you on the back roads by the rivers of my memory, that keeps you ever gentle on my mind. It's not clinging to the rocks and ivy planted on some column now that binds us, or something that somebody said because they thought we fit together walking. It's just knowing that the world will not not be cursing or forgiving when I'm drifting through the marketplace and find that you're moving on the back roads by the rivers of my memory, and for hours you're just gentle on my mind. Though the wheat fields and the clotheslines and the junkyards and the highways come between us, and some other woman crying to her mother 'cause she turned and you were gone, I still might walk for hours, tears of joy might stain my face, and a summer sun might burn me till I'm blind. But not to where I cannot see you moving on the back roads by the rivers flowing gentle on my mind. The shadows creak in autumn winds that make me draw inside myself in silence. Cross-legged now I sit and watch the endless chase of leaves across my yard. And laying down my hairbrush I lean back within my window seat and find that you're moving on the back roads by the rivers of my memory, ever smiling, ever gentle on my mind. My son, I pray that you'll come home to me. My son, my son. It seems only yesterday that the most important thing on your mind was whether you'd make the baseball team or get the new school jacket like all the other kids had. And I remember how your eyes lighted up when you got your first rod and reel for that big fishing trip, just you and your dad. And I remember wiping the tears away when you hurt yourself on your sled. In those days, it seemed the house was always filled with laughter and joy, filled with your friends. They were such good boys. And then came the day that you walked down the aisle to receive that all-important diploma. I was so proud, but I couldn't believe that tall young man was actually my son, my wonderful son. And then I remember the little girl that was always around, kind of tagging after you. She's not so little anymore, but she's still around. Who knows? Maybe someday. Then you received the call that I guess we knew would come someday. But it came so quick, and now you're so very far away, in a land that until a short time ago I didn't even know was there. I know the time will pass and you'll be home again. But until that time, my darling, take care. Take special care. My son, I pray that you'll come home to me. My son, my son. I have to mow the lawn and I have to wash the car. Honey, I'd just like to know who you think you are. I'm getting tired of wagging that old heavy garbage can. Your woman's getting tired of being your old handyman. your back, and I have to scrub the tub after you have had your bath. You're as helpless as a baby, but I love you, understand. I'm just getting tired of being your old handyman. Your woman's getting tired of being your old handyman. I know you got 10 fingers, but where's your helping hand? Well, I've just made a decision. I've stood all I'm gonna stand. Your woman's getting tired of being your old handyman. I do everything for you. You never help yourself, and I think I'd die from shock if you raised a hand to help. Well, I'm not gonna keep it up if that's what you got planned. Your woman's getting tired of being your old handyman. Your woman's getting tired of being your old handyman. I know you got 10 fingers, but where's your helping hand? I've just made a decision. I've stood all I'm gonna stand. Your woman's getting tired of being your old handyman. I love you, but come on, baby. You're a big boy now. All those muscles, and they're just going to waste. I've just about had it with this bathtub scrubber.
For loving you, for needing you, but most of all, for loving you, for loving you.
For loving you. My life is so much richer. You've given me so much to live for. And I never really lived before loving you.
And for loving you, my faith is a little stronger. For a world that could give you to me couldn't be as bad as it's made out to be. There was good there I just could never see before loving you. And for needing you, I feel a whole lot stronger. For there's a strength that comes from knowing you need to give of yourself. And darling, I gave so much of myself loving you.
And now I'm losing you. And I'm a sadder, lonelier man than I ever thought any man could be. But even in my loneliness, even as I walk the haunting trail of memory, even for all the pain that I'm feeling right now, never once will I ever regret having had the chance of loving you.
Marriage has ruined more good love affairs. They should use the word, maybe not I do. Marriage has ruined more good love affairs. At least that's how it's been with me and you. You used to send me flowers, call me up and say I love
has ruined more good love affairs.
They should use the word maybe not I do.
Marriage has ruined more good love affairs.
At least that's how it's been with me and you. We used to have our dinner with candlelight and wine and champagne for our very special toast. But now you're very seldom home, and when alone I dine, I find that Colonel Sanders is my host. So I'm gonna walk right out that door so you can find another who'll put up with all your cheating ways and lies. I may love again, for who knows what the future has to offer. But if he buys a ring, I'll say goodbye. 'Cause
Marriage has ruined more good love affairs.
they should use the word maybe not I do.
Marriage has ruined more good love affairs.
At least that's how it's been with me and you. Once I knew this little man, well, he was only 10 feet tall. He had that sparkle in his eye, though he was a little off the wall. He had some yarns to tell you, and you know that every word was true. From the happy little man in the cowboy hat with tobacco stains on his boots. Living at 11 Hondo, he was kicking up his heels wherever he'd go. Living at 11 Hondo, he was a one-man rodeo. Living at 11 Hondo, putting on a show wherever he'd go. Living at 11 Hondo, he was a dancing with a do-si-do. When the good Lord made old Hondo, well, he threw away the mold. He was the last of the old-time buckaroos with a heart of solid gold. He finally got so many friends, he had to get himself a town. So he bought a little place called Luke and Bach, 10 a month and 20 down. Living at 11 Hondo, kicking up his heels wherever he'd go. Living at 11 Hondo, he was a one-man rodeo. Living at 11 and a living Hondo, putting on a show wherever he'd go. Living at 11 Hondo, he was a dancing with a do-si-do. Swing your partners. Do-si-do now. Yodel-oo-dee, 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 yodel-ee-lee. Ain't nobody ever met that man who didn't walk off with a smile. He had that special magic, well, I guess you could call it style. He didn't care who came to pick or just sit upon his couch. 'Cause everybody's somebody in the heart of Hondo crowd. Living at 11 Hondo, he was a kicking up his heels wherever he'd go. Living at 11 Hondo, he was a one-man rodeo. Living at 11 and a living Hondo, putting on a show wherever he'd go. Living at 11 Hondo, he was a dancing with a do-si-do. You say I need a rest, why don't I go and see my sister way out west? That's very thoughtful of you, dear, and I'm really touched with all this tenderness. But as women things, and we know that men aren't born with wings. What's making you so kind? Now I'm not smart, but I'm not blind, and I think that you've got evil on your mind. You think that you've been good about as long as most red-blooded he-men could. We've been together for so long, I know another pasture's looking good. But don't think that other men don't look at me that certain way from time to time. Don't think that you're the only one that must contend with